So let's talk about one of the most important institutions in the world's biggest democracy, the Indian Parliament. What is it, really? How does it all work? And why is it so fundamental to the entire nation? Let's find out.
You've almost certainly seen the news about the brand new Parliament building in New Delhi. I mean, it's a huge architectural statement. But beyond all the stone and steel, what is the real foundation of this place? What are the core principles actually holding it all together? That's what we're going to get into.
You hear this phrase a lot, and for a really good reason. It's not just a building where a bunch of laws are made. No, it's meant to be the one place where the will, the hopes, and the voice of over 1 billion people all come together.
Okay, so let's start with the most basic question of all. Why even have a parliament in the first place? Well, the answer is buried deep in India's own history.
Think about it. Before independence, India was under colonial rule. Decisions were being made by a handful of officials in a country thousands of miles away with zero consent from the Indian people. And if you dared to criticize those decisions, well, you could expect to be punished, and severely. The entire freedom movement was a complete and total rejection of that idea. It was built on this dream of a system where the government would actually be a reflection of the public will, ruling by consent, not by force. And that, right there, is the why of Parliament.
So how do you make sure a government reflects the public's will? Well, you do it with this incredibly powerful idea, universal adult franchise. It just means that every single adult citizen gets a say. It doesn't matter who you are, how much money you have, or where you come from. Your vote is your power, and it's this collective power that gives Parliament its ultimate authority. It's the engine of the whole system. Now, the Parliament isn't just one single big room. It's actually a trio. You've got the president, and then the two houses, the Lok Sabha, which is the House of the People, and the Rajya Sabha, the Council of States. Each one has a totally distinct and crucial role to play. Let's break them down.
First up, the Lok Sabha. The name literally translates to House of the People, and honestly, that tells you everything you need to know about what it's for.
This is the house of direct democracy. Its members, who we call MPs, are chosen directly by you, the voter, every 5 years in the general elections. They are there to represent all the citizens of India. And after their 5-year term is up, guess what? They have to come right back to the people and ask for a fresh mandate to continue.
All right, next we have the second house, the Rajya Sabha, or the Council of States. Its role is completely different, but it's just as important. Okay, so the system here is a world away from the Lok Sabha. Members are not elected directly by the public. Instead, they're chosen by the folks who are already elected to each state's legislative assembly. So their job is to represent the interests of their specific state on the national stage. And here's the really cool part. It's a permanent body. It never gets dissolved. A third of its members retire every 2 years, which creates this amazing sense of continuity and stability in government.
So, we know what the two houses are, but how exactly are people chosen to sit in them? Well, the methods are just as different as the houses themselves. The whole thing starts with the voter. In India, if you're a citizen and you're 18 years or older, you have the right to vote. Fun fact, this age was actually lowered from 21, which was a huge move that brought millions and millions of young people into the democratic process. Now, this is crucial. There are two very different systems at play. For the Lok Sabha, it's a pretty simple method called first past the post. Just think of it like a race. Whoever gets just one more vote than the next person in their area wins the seat. It's a straightforward winner-takes-all deal. But the Rajya Sabha uses something called proportional representation. It's a bit more complex, but the core idea is simple. It makes sure that the number of seats a political party gets in the Rajya Sabha accurately reflects its actual strength in that state's assembly. So it's less about a single winner and more about making sure representation is fair. This comparison shows you something really fundamental about India's federal structure. In the Rajya Sabha, representation is all based on population. So a massive state like Uttar Pradesh gets 31 seats, while a much smaller state like Tripura gets just 1. This really prioritizes the democratic idea of one person, one vote on a national level. Now look at the U.S. Senate. Every single state, from massive California to tiny Wyoming, gets exactly 2 senators. That system prioritizes the equality of the states themselves, making sure the smaller ones don't get drowned out. It's just 2 different federations with 2 very different philosophies.
But, getting elected is just the first step. To actually stay a member of parliament, there are some pretty strict rules you have to follow. In fact, there are specific things that can get a member disqualified from the House. So let's run through the main reasons for disqualification. An MP can't hold another paid government job that's called an office of profit. They obviously have to be of sound mind, and they have to be a citizen of India. If they're convicted of serious crimes or corruption, that's another way out. And then there's a really important one, the anti-defection law, which basically stops members from hopping over to another party after they've already been elected on one ticket.
And it's not just about disqualification. A seat can become empty in other ways too. I mean, a member can just resign. If they're absent from all meetings for 60 straight days without asking for permission, their seat can be declared vacant. And of course, if they get elected to a higher office, like president or a state governor, they have to give up their seat in parliament.
So all of this brings us to one final, really big thought. The Indian parliament was designed decades ago for a much younger nation. But today, India is a rising global power, with a population that's rocketing towards 1.5 billion people. The system we've just talked about, from how states are represented to the actual number of seats, is under enormous pressure. So the question we want to leave you with is this. As the country keeps growing and changing at an incredible pace, how must its most important democratic institution evolve right along with it?